On this video, I thought I'd give you a bit of a behind the curtains look of my YouTube channel and my experience of, my successes and my struggles, or if I can put it as such, my issues with YouTube, and also introduce people to the site of Patreon. Now, before I get to Patreon, I just want to give you a bit of a context for why Patreon perhaps exists for some creators. Using my own site as a sort of a case study, it might be quite useful for some people. I know when I first started sort of creating videos on YouTube, my subscribers were in the sort of single digits. Then for a good couple of years, it was around the 40 or 50 subscribers region. I was getting a couple of hundred views on each video, but it really wasn't going anywhere, and it certainly wasn't ever going to earn me any money. Around sort of November 2015, I started creating videos on the iPad Pro, the Apple Pencil, and I think because of the hunger for extra information about the Apple product, that it seemed to just kickstart my video, or my YouTube channel rather. And since then it's carried on growing. So in less than 18 months, I've seen an enormous sort of spurt of interest and growth in my channel, and I never thought that it would reach those kind of numbers, and it's hugely satisfying, hugely motivating for me personally as an artist. In terms of my views, I have, 1.7 million views, going on for 1.8 million views. I expect in the next few months it'll sort of cross the 2 million view marker. But I just would like to give you a bit of an understanding as what that might equate to in terms of the other kind of stats. You might not get to see this with most YouTubers, and for those people curious, I thought I would give a bit of a rundown of what that might equate to in actual fact. It peaks and troughs, so it does vary, it does fluctuate, but at the moment it's sort of around the £6 a day region, £6–7, sometimes less, sometimes more. There have been times when it's been up past £10 a day, but it's significantly sort of dropped after New Year. I'm still gaining sort of over 1,000 subscribers a month, and the amount of views, I'm getting sort of 80-odd thousand views per month as well. Now, I think when I was on sort of much lower number of subscribers, I imagined that YouTube would just naturally snowball. The more subscribers you have, the more views you would get, the more revenue you would receive. And I think in some instances that might well be the case, but it's not necessarily the case. I've looked around and researched other YouTube channels as well, and I see plenty of creative types especially who have goodwill of their subscribers, and they may get up to sort of 50, 60, 70 or even more 100,000 subscribers, but not necessarily be getting huge numbers in terms of their views, and therefore I imagine not huge revenue either. My revenue seems to have actually gone down over the last few months, even though I'm producing more videos. You'd think the more subscribers, you'd automatically think the more views, but it doesn't always equate that way. Now, I work at a high school full time, and so I do this sort of as much as I can in the time I have left. Long term, I'd love to be able to do my own art full time, and that's definitely a long term sort of goal and ambition. And so this brings me to Patreon. For anyone who's not unaware of what Patreon is, it is a site. It tends to link often to YouTube because I guess in order to make Patreon work, you need to have some form of following, and I guess a lot of creative people have followings on YouTube these days. It's difficult to find another way of amassing a large audience. YouTube seems to be the format for music, for animation, for art, tutorials, all sorts of different kind of creative content tends to be filtered through YouTube for a lot of, especially younger people. And so Patreon tends to be for people who are creating video content largely, or art content in some kind of digital format. The premise is that if you have a following, then you can provide extra value content to your fans, your patrons, people who are willing to actually show some kind of support on a more tangible sense. As much as YouTube support and encouragement is enormously motivating, it's in a lot of instances, and probably most instances, it's not going to be enough to actually provide them the opportunity to do art as a full-time career. Gone are the days, perhaps, for majority of artists where you would have rich patrons who are willing to sustain you as an artist, pay you and keep you on side and keep your career going. It seems to be, especially these days where digital content is so readily available for free, people seem to value it a little bit less, which is a shame. I've certainly found for myself, because I don't fit into a gallery scene and I'm not employed by an industry, then, selling my own work when it's digital definitely becomes more problematic. I'm extremely proud and pleased with the skills that I've built up in the digital sort of realm, but translating that to money sometimes can be quite difficult. The most success I've had really in terms of audience sort of participation and interest has been on YouTube. I guess in a way I'm the exact kind of person that Patreon could potentially work for. I've created my own profile. I've already got 3 patrons, which, considering I've barely started even promoting it over the last few days, is just amazing already. As a creative type, you would have to create a profile and then you would have an introduction. I hate speaking to camera. For most people familiar with my videos on YouTube, you'll know that I don't show my face, so this is a rare treat for anyone interested to know what I actually look like and how awkward I do actually seem on camera. Knock yourself out, have a look. So anyway, you're supposed to produce like an intro video and explain who you are, your sort of purpose and your goals and what you're hoping to achieve, in order for people who are interested and perhaps fans of what you do, you know, so they can gain a greater understanding of why maybe their support might be useful. Now, it's not just giving money away, it's not begging, it's not a charity. So it is actually providing valuable content. I will always, as I explained in the video, I'll always continue to create content free on YouTube, but this is for people perhaps who want to see a little bit more how things are constructed more, might want more and greater access to the full resolution images or the kind of Photoshop files with all the layers, you know, do question and answer sort of sessions. This is what the rewards are for. There's a different tier system. The basic sort of become a patron level, and I think this is what happens with most people with Patreon profiles, is that they have a basic $1 sort of starting point at which you gain access to content that you wouldn't do ordinarily via YouTube. You get access to some of the Patreon-only polls. You can connect on here, so there's a kind of community section where you can talk to other people who might be interested in this particular, you know, whatever profile you're looking at, and you might be able to get ad-free access to videos as well. This is just very, very temporary images I've put in here. I've only had this going for a couple of days, really. It's going to develop and grow over time, and it's going to be a much more, and that's kind of another aspect of it, really. I'm looking for feedback from people who are interested in this platform, maybe have more experience with this platform, suggestions about the kind of things that, you know, would be good to offer, not just for myself, but for anyone else reading the comments too. But this is my explanation about what I thought would be appropriate. You can either give one-off payments, or you can pay per month, every month, until you choose to cancel it, and you can cancel that at any point, or you can pay that contribution amount for every time there's something uploaded and the artist chooses to charge. There has to be a way of setting a limit, and there is, and it's really quite transparent and easy to make sure that is the case. So if you were committing to $3 per creation, you can set a restriction of a maximum of 1 time per month. So you would still have access to all the content, but if someone was creating 5 things a month, for example, you would only pay for 1 of them. So it's very flexible, and I can see a lot of bonuses to it, really, from a sort of fan or a supporter point of view. With the sort of higher up you go, you get all the previous rewards. You get, on this extra one, you get behind the scenes sort of videos and information, early access. So before it's available on YouTube, I've set it so that it will be an early access to the videos. Follow you on social media, so if you want to share your own artwork or tag me in certain things, then I'll be able to see that and I'll be able to respond to it. And also sneak peek, so it might be that I'm halfway through a painting or an image or a video, and I might just put a little sneak peeks up for those people interested ahead of time. The next section is really where you're wanting to get something more tangible. So at the $5 or more, I've set it so you get HD art download. So that would be whatever file size that the Procreate image I've created is, would be exactly what you would get. So it wouldn't be reduced at all. It would be the exact resolution that I created it at. And also every month I would release a monthly desktop wallpaper. And then as you go higher up, we've got the $10, where it would give you all the above, but also access to me on Instagram, Snapchat, as well as the ability to download the full sort of Photoshop format file, so you can see all the different layers and actually sort of tinker around with it yourself or just gain insight. And as we go up, we've got the producer level, where you get credits on every single video in the future. I would have your name in the credits, thanking you for your help as a producer. A monthly Q&A, so I might have a Google Hangout with all the people that are at that level or beyond. And then for the director level, it would be a personalized drawing, as well as sort of one-to-one Skype or Hangout tutorials. So there's a whole sliding scale of sort of rewards there. Having looked around on Patreon. There are some people that seem to just expect something for nothing, and that's definitely not really what it's set up for. It's definitely meant for gaining greater access to an artist, seeing more how an artist works, and actually gaining a bit of knowledge and actually developing your own skills as an artist, perhaps, if you follow. So I'm only really focused from an artist's point of view. In terms of my overall perspective, it's still early days, and it's yet to be seen whether it'll be successful for me personally. Certainly when you look out there, whenever you explore artists that are out there, there are certainly sort of case studies of some of the more successful end of things where people are earning thousands per month, thousands per creation. And so it definitely proves the fact that it is possible to make a full-time career out of this. I never thought I would get thousands of subscribers on YouTube, so I'm just looking to see where this goes, really. If you are somebody watching a video who wants to offer me support, it would be amazing, and I'd love to be able to have you part of my Patreon community. Or for anyone interested in creating their own profile, I hope that this has been a bit more of an insight, perhaps, into something maybe you'd heard about or been slightly interested in. Give it a go. You never know how things can take off. I'm hoping long term to be able to invest in quality video recording equipment. At the minute, I don't do fancy sort of animations. I don't do, complicated style videos. This is just me talking, recording with my iPad on my iPhone. If I just show you how I'm actually recording this, you'll see how primitive my setup is. My days as YouTube are still very early going. So this is my actual desktop at the moment. My phone was rested, attached to my rather large Apple cinema monitor thing, but this is an actual sat-nav holder meant for a car. This is what I've been resting my phone on for months now to create my videos. It's just been rested on here like this, and this is how I format it. And this is my lighting. So, I've got a lovely sort of household lamp here lighting up my desktop. This is the way that I produce my videos at the minute. So as much as I feel I've achieved quite a bit of success, it's incredibly sort of primitive at this point, and I'm hoping to take it further. If you're interested to take a look at my Patreon page, it would be amazing. You can follow the links in the description, or I'll actually make a link available at the end of the video. Please leave a comment, a like, a share if you think it's something that somebody else you might know might be interested in. Any kind of feedback would be fantastic. Thanks very much. I'll be back here with a normal style tutorial as soon as I possibly can.